I'll lock myself.
Yeah, this is being recorded for public consumption, by the way. So. Hi, Tom. I think everybody takes a second to connect, I think. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Hi, Matt. Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Computer's a little slow.
No worries. I know it took mine a little while to connect. David Green joining here.
Evening, everyone.
Hey, good night. How you doing, David? How are you?
Dave.
Nice to see you. Give it a few more minutes. See if anyone else is going to join. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we did define a quorum.
Is Mark still there?
Lost Mark, vaporized. Now we don't have a quorum anymore. 1, 2, 3. we were at the point we can move forward. Not now. No, wait. There was a little delay in the setting up the Zoom calls, but I think we finally got to the bottom of that.
I'm sure we'll get a quorum.
It's only 6:31, right?
Yeah,
Is the chief of police going to join us tonight?
she's not. I was gonna give everybody an update. She's actually she's sick, near hospital status, so she's not gonna make it. We texted earlier.
Okay.
Asking, and I know Leonard is not gonna join from the
Right.
fire department tonight either. Saw his email. But she said she'll make it when she's feeling better.
Okay.
But it sounds like she's been out for a couple of weeks and progressively we've gotten worse.
Oh,
She's in contact though, so that's a good sign. She's in contact. So that's a good thing. We'll give it 2 more minutes and then we can get going if that's okay with you.
Yep. If we have a quorum, then when they join in, they join in.
So I was thinking. Mark, how's everything out in Southern States?
We're getting better down here. Hot again though.
Yeah,
We're back up into the 80s down here.
that's
And
warm.
it felt
Last
hot
week
here
it was
yesterday, though,
30.
didn't it?
Yeah, it's like 80 something here in Mass.
Yeah, places hit 80.
It's Judy.
There you go. Hi, Judy. Well, I'd say we progress. If I see people joining, looking to come in, I will make sure I let them in as we go. So let me screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Cool.
Did you start recording? I didn't catch that if you did.
I did.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
Yep. It's I believe it's recording. I hit it and it said it
Oh, I
was.
see it now. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. That way if people need to jump in. If there's a way, can I make you like a co-host or something so you could let people in or not? I don't know if that's possible.
I think I might be a co-host, but I don't know. I don't get notifications if people are here. I haven't.
Just because sometimes if I'm sharing, I'm not sure if I get all the. I'll watch. I'll be able to see if there's a. I'll check from
Yeah.
time to
Hopefully
time.
we can figure that out by next time, maybe. But
Yes.
Yeah.
Figure it out. All right. So if I could go down to the agenda here. So for today, kind of the things on the agenda. Just want to review our approach. I think we all kind of know it from last time. But thanks again, Tom, for sending out the minutes and also sending out the link to the slideshow so people can have a reference. So I appreciate you doing that. And that was just to review again, kind of our approach using our UEERE plan of attack, usage, enforcement, education, and recommendation. And I thought everyone did a great job last call. Respectful, good dialogue, good discussion. I didn't think we got too far off on any tangents, and I think everybody. I appreciate everybody's involvement and all the thoughts throughout the night. So one of the things that I wrote down, one of the things for me to do was to reach out to Michael Connors. Michael Connors, if you all remember, was the individual who was involved in the accident. So I did speak to Michael, and I let him know that if there's at some point in time, if he wants to get on our call here and he wants to like just share any perspective that he may want to have that wasn't able to be shared during the kind of the Shutesbury, some of the very short Shutesbury meetings that we had. I just wanted to let him know that he has a forum here. I'd be happy to let him have some time on the agenda and share anything anything he would like. In our conversation, we did talk about he just wants to promote boat safety and education and awareness was one of the big things that he talked about. And he was happy to hear that we had the committee. I gave him the roster of the people that were on it. And seemed like he was really happy to hear that, a lot of people that are near and dear to the lake are on this committee, as well as some of the town representatives. So I'm sure he'll join maybe the next meeting. But I did want to let you all know that I did reach out to him and chatted with him. So, and gave him an open invitation to come anytime. Okay. The LW I call it LWA, I guess I can make that Lake Wyola Boating and Safety webpage. They should have that up this week or next week, is what I've heard from Judy. So they're working on it. I gave them that initial clip of what our summary was, and if anybody had any changes to that, we can make edits. Obviously once that's up and running. But that was like they needed something to be able to start it, I guess. But so be it. I think it's a pretty good.
Do you know the contact person for that? Could you say who that is?
I'll take an action item here and I will forward you the last train of dialogue.
Oh,
Just
okay.
You have it. And I'll tell them that I want to make you a co-owner on the webpage as well. How's that?
Awesome. Thank you.
I got that as an action. I'll do that. I've been trying to just like shuffle this stuff along and I'll get, I would love for you to be a part of it again, if I can help.
Okay.
But it's right now it's just been bird dogging. We do have a committee email that we'll be able to put on the website. I have it here. And I'll send this doc out again too, Tom. If that's good, if you don't mind. That way we just keep sending them out to the teams. Safety Lake Wyola at shutesbury.org is going to be the address. I sent you that, Tom, as well. I don't know if you're able to set it up or not, but it's just like adding a Gmail account.
That I didn't open it because I just wanted to ask you if you don't mind for 1 minute here. So I will go to Gmail and pretend I'm opening a new email, but I'll use shutesbury.org instead of gmail.com.
Yep. When it asks for the email, I actually put in the Safety Lake Wyola at shutesbury.org.
Okay.
And I changed the password. I sent you the password.
Yeah.
And then it'll come up just like a new mailbox.
Okay. And
I
so
was skeptical at first when I saw the org and I was going to Gmail. So
okay. Now things like planning board, most boards have it set up that all committee members email automatically receive a copy of incoming emails. Shall I set it up that way?
if that's possible, if you know how to do that, I'm perfectly fine with
Yeah, it will accept any email. The person might have to do a confirmation.
Okay.
But as far as I know, especially if they're Gmail addresses, it's rather straightforward.
Okay. Yeah,
And it will save the original copy in the Safety Lake Wyola inbox.
If you know how to do all that, I will take advantage of it.
And then just to tell people when that starts happening, please don't respond to those and whatnot. Just take them in as information incoming, but wait for replying until the committee meets.
Yep. Perfect.
People know that.
Great. Okay, those were the updates I had kind of as a starter here. Do we want to talk about reviewing and approving the minutes from 10/10? Everybody get a chance to review those, take a look at them.
Would you like me to share them?
Go ahead, Mark.
The only thing I noticed was the time that we ended.
Thank you. I caught somebody flagged.
Yeah,
And
I
that was
wasn't sure if that would go through or not, but yeah.
Yeah, I copied the minutes from the previous meeting. So yeah, we adjourned at 7 p.m., not 7:29 or whatever it's there.
Time
Excellent.
travel.
Attention to details. I like it.
Well,
Good.
would have been a time warp.
Anything we need to discuss on the minutes, or is there anybody that would like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Heroic eye.
Seaford, aye.
Green eye.
Salvador, I.
Gremmel, I.
Rivers, I.
Awesome.
Emails are on their way. The minutes are approved, so good. I did put in a few minutes for public comments. If there were any public comments, I don't see anybody else asking to come in, but I will open it for the floor in general. If there's anything specific that anybody wants to comment on, doesn't have to be public by any means. Anyone have anything specific they wanted to talk about, share, anything like that?
I think mine will come up later in the agenda when we do the bylaw discussion.
Okay, good enough. All right, we're going to move on from public comment then. And then we'll jump into bylaw review. So if we review what we did last time, we talked about bylaw 1, the motorboats complying with the mass safety and Coast Guard regulations. And number 2, we talked about speed limit, talked about that, had a dialogue around that. So process I was going to follow is just continue to move through and talk about these and talk about concerns, ideas, education. Is there something we need to recommend with these next several? And we can kind of start there. So Everybody's good with that. Dave, go ahead.
I guess, at the last meeting, I had suggested that we were kind of stuck on the speed limit thing because there were some clarifications that we needed from the police chief.
Yep.
She is not here. Are we going to continue this discussion without her? Are we
I think
table it again? I think that the fact that the issue was brought up that there was no one there that was truly there to enforce it, there seemed to be some gray area there. You know, the environmental police says, no, those are town laws. The state, the town says, no, we can't do anything. How do we want to move forward with that if we're not going to have a presence at this meeting?
Well, I think it's I think we table it until we do have the presence at the meeting, which based on my discussions or texts with the chief, she plans to join these meetings. So we will have an audience. I don't think it's going to be non-existent, but I think if there's clarifying questions, I think that's a good time to wait until she's there.
And would that pertain to number 3 bylaw 2, speed limit within 150 of the shore?
I think it's an element of it. I think we still should talk about the 150-foot buffer. I think we should talk about that in generalities here in a minute. Mark, you have a hand up.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering for the future if we can get confirmation from the chief that she is going to be at one of these meetings in time to post an agenda topic to discuss tabled topics with the chief. That would be nice just to make sure that if we know she's going to be here, that we have designated time for that conversation with her. And then as far as the 5 mile an hour limit, often that'd be more referred to as headway speed.
Mhm.
And so I'm wondering, is that something that we're okay with just saying, 5 miles an hour is headway speed? It doesn't need to be clocked like a faster speed. It'd be no wake kind of speed. If we want to clarify it that way. Just a thought.
Go ahead, Judy.
I see the speed limit within 150 feet of the shore is 5 miles an hour. But I know that a lot of the boats that are towing skiers, the skiers come flying in, way in farther than 150 feet. Well, first of all, I don't think anybody knows where 150 feet is. So I really think somehow we have to find out more about that and identify that 150 feet around at different parts of the lake. Because I've had boaters accuse us of putting our raft out at more than 150 feet, and it was out at 70 feet. So it's pretty apparent that people don't really know 150 feet around the lake. And then also with the skiers coming in, they come in really close and they're going probably more than 30 miles an hour because they're swinging out so fast.
Dave, I think you had your hand up next.
I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but are we going to get some agreement at least that we're going to move on to item number 3 and we're going to table item number 2 until the police chief is available to be present?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we need to make a motion for that, correct?
I don't think so.
That's not a votable item. All right. So we're going to move on to this item number 3 and we're going to take it from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I just want a clarification on that, Matt. I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate the
The floor is for others.
Mark, you're next. Go for it.
So, Judy's comment about the people not knowing the 150 feet. This is that same issue we ran into a decade ago, I guess it probably is now, when we put in the new buoy system at the association beaches. The swim buoys are supposed to mark 75 feet. And then the swim zone, the bigger buoy out in the center there, is supposed to be at 150 feet. I don't know how people are measuring that when they install them. But the idea there was that would provide a visual representation at 3 points around the lake so that people could say, oh, all right, that's what it looks like from shore. Problem obviously being is that it changes as the shoreline changes. So you can't just line up with it and have it be good. But if you are having trouble with people debating the distance, that should be a visual marker to point out to people. And that may be something, again, in our education that we let people know, hey, these are at 150 feet from shore. That is your visual representation so that you can be aware that is how far you need to stay off the shore with your vessel, which includes anything being towed as well, as it's all part of the vessel, the skier, tuber, whatever is there. That all is connected and counts for that being 150 feet from shore.
And I think that I've been giving some more thought to education and, kind of I'm just going to toss it out for the team just to get some feedback. I can almost envision that like the boat ramp or something that we create as a committee, kind of like a map of like the lake. And then it kind of like it shows like the lines of like where's 150 feet and like put those buoy points on that map so that there's like representation. People know kind of, hey, the 150 is the swim lane. Boaters have to be, outside of that swim lane so that there's something people can see, or like we can have that on our website. We can have that, when people pick up a kayak at the public, library, it could be something we share with LWA, something we share like, big monikered placard at the boat ramp so that people can see that there's this buffer zone that people should not be going more than, as you said, 5 miles headway speed within that close to the shore. For lots of reasons. Now, not one, safety, two, just too fast to be going that close, period. Kathy, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, a couple of questions.
Sure.
Where did the 150-foot come from to begin with is one question. And is that reasonable on a lake this size? And then my other question was, in addition to the buoys at the Lake Association beaches, would it be helpful also if people who have docks would be willing to put, the distance of their dock out into the water? I don't know what ours is, but 75 feet or whatever it is. If we put a sign at the end of our dock, would that help kind of, it would just add to the points that are already going to be identified at the Lake Association beaches.
Yeah, those are good ideas. Good, Mark, do you have insight on where the 150 feet came from?
My understanding is that is Massachusetts law on all bodies of water. But I would have to verify that. But that's every other body of water I've been on. That's kind of a rule I've tried to follow. And I guess I don't know, is it from Lake Wyola or is that from the state? But Tom, you seem to know where the boating laws were.
Yeah,
Any
so
chance?
there's something, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I was wondering if you could like just shoot that out in an email, so we can dive into it and maybe have that accessible to us next time, so that we can be kind of searching for stuff like this when it comes up.
Yeah, I have them up on my screen now, and if we want to wait till the next meeting, I can send them out in the meantime. But yes, the 150 feet is a Massachusetts regulation.
Nice. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Somebody else have their hand up?
Can I share a screen for a quick second?
Yeah.
Just to refer
Can you
to
take it?
something. I think you have to stop sharing for a moment.
Go for it.
Thanks. Hopefully this is the right one. don't know what you see when I share.
Okay,
I'm trying to share a map.
I see it,
Very
Tom.
Do you see a
it's
map?
kind of like a
Yeah,
like what I was
That's
envisioning.
neat.
It was just a preliminary thing I've been working on, only using Google Maps. But I think this is kind of what you mean, just to give people a visualization. Is this possibly the type of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was type. That was
Is
type
it
of
still showing there? Because it just,
No.
oh,
it
it went
went away.
away.
No.
yeah,
We were
sorry.
taking it all in, too.
My Zoom is very touchy tonight. So let me try one more time.
Yeah, that's kind of like exactly what I was envisioning. It's something like I can envision like this big porcelain sign, right? Like at the that we or
Yeah, do you all see that now? Because again, I can't tell what you see.
Yep.
What's the peace sign in the middle, Tom?
That is, the center of it is theoretically a moored boat. And the peace sign radius is, I believe, 150 feet. Because one of the mass regulations is that no headway speed with 150 feet of a swimmer. And one of the Lake Wyola regulations is that a swimmer needs to be accompanied by a boat if the swimmer is more than 150 feet from shore. So a swimmer from a boat also entails 150-foot radius around that swimmer, if you know what I mean. So the peace sign is kind of like, that would be the zone of nothing above headway speed around that boat in the center of that circle. Is that clear, the way I'm describing it?
Mhm.
Kinda, yeah.
So if a person swam from a moored boat and the boat was out in the lake like that, that would mean that other boats would not make a headway speed
I see what you're saying.
within that circle.
Right.
That would be 150 feet within the boat or kind of the swimmer. So
Like if a little
Really?
pontooner parks out in the middle of the lake and they start diving off the diving
Exactly.
board. I got it. Yeah.
that's the type of thing I mean. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
what were the if I can ask, what are the striations along the outside, the purple, green, orange?
purples are existing docks I could find just, oh no, purple is, this is completely of my own making. This doesn't conform to regulations because I think the regulations, okay, so purple is if you went out 150 feet more from all of the docks that you can. So there's an existing dock on a Google aerial view, and that purple line is 150 feet more. I was just seeing where that would be. So this is a conservative ring in here. This is this pink ring is a 300-foot from shore ring.
Right.
The approximately. Again, I didn't use better software than just hand doing it. So every purple line there is 150 feet, as are the green ones. But the green ones represent Lake Wyola beaches, or the State Beach, or Kinder Beach. And the purple ones represent docks that I could find on Google Maps, and I just went out another 150 feet, but I didn't do all docks. And the yellow lines are existing buoys
Ah,
and or rafts that I could find on aerial view. I know there are more because I don't know how to interpret the Massachusetts regulations about distance from moorings and fixed structures or moored structures. Because the Massachusetts regulations also have things about 75 feet beyond a swimming area besides the 150 feet from shore. So it's kind of like 225 feet for the no headway speed, the way I understand it. But this is where I want some confirmation on understanding the regulations. But so this was just something I started with. And yeah, so like down here, if you can see, I'm highlighting one down here. That's near the boat ramp. And that's that buoy that says no wake beyond this point to the boat ramp. Raft over here I could see on aerial view. There was a raft over here I could see on aerial view, but other people put rafts out like at 150 feet, I think. And because they're a moored structure, I think you might need to go another 75 feet out from them for not higher than headways.
I think there's some things, I don't know what the regulations say. I haven't read them in intricate detail, but I think that I don't know what defines a mooring versus like a permanent structure or temporary structure.
Those are the definitions I want to know.
A lot of gray area in there, but I think some sort of identification of whatever for 150 feet from shore seems to be the mass regulation at a minimum.
Right.
Something that kind of illustrates kind of like what you're talking about. I think would go a long way for people to kind of understand, like, hey, you need to stay at least whatever ring we decide is the right ring. You can almost have like, a hash, shaded area, hash marked area, where like the swim lanes are 150 feet around. And then you could have, this is the open, water area. But then there's maybe like an anecdote that says, hey, if there's a swimmer from a vessel, that there needs to be some distance between them.
Right.
You can't be whipping by at 40 miles an hour, right? You got 30 miles an hour, whatever. You want to make sure that people are cognizant that they have to look for people in the water at all times.
Yeah.
Dave, go ahead.
Is it okay if I stop sharing, or do people want to?
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead. Thank you.
Wait, Todd.
I figured I
Oh,
asked the committee,
I
is
can put
this
it back up.
something that the group is willing to use as a basis for what Matt had initiated discussion earlier about a map like this? Does the group want more refinement? I mean, that, of course, that's also asking Tom to do more work. So I'm just asking the team's thoughts on that.
I think that, based on, I'll just speak and then I'll let everybody else chime in here. I think, some graphic representation, you would take kind of a mock, what Tom, unless Tom has some secret graphic artist capabilities I'm not aware of. We could take something like a mock rendering that he has, submit that to, like, I mean, town should pay for a sign or whatever we want to create as a graphic, or we can enlist somebody that can find someone that'll do it. And they could actually, do it with a little bit more AutoCAD type, technical detail that would actually use some real lengths that are, more in line with like the shorelines. It's going to follow some creeping line based on the shape of our lake.
Right.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I just wanted to say, I think this is a great start. I don't think I've ever seen a representation like that. We talk about this stuff all the time, in the Lake Wyola Association and the Safety Committee, and everybody's talked about these things for years, but I don't know as I've ever seen a representation like this that sort of captures everything we're talking about in graphic form. So I just wanted to say, I think this is a great start. Good work.
Yeah, and I think, to Judy's point of, where's that 150-foot mark? I mean, on that map, you could put, buoy here, buoy here, buoy here. These are your 150 reference points when you're on the lake. You can make note of that, and they could be designated on that map so that people can actually see, oh, okay, when I go around this side of the lake, there's going to be a buoy. I can see if I'm in or out. And at least it gives some basis of, control, I think. I think that's a Mark, go ahead.
Two thoughts. One, with the buoys marking 150 feet, I don't know if we could talk the state beach into putting their outer buoys at 150 feet, so we could have that as a very visual thing. Having
Or even an extra buoy, if they have what
Yeah.
they have, but they put two more buoys at the end of those swim lanes that just push people out a little further.
Yeah.
That would just be another representation. Again, a lot of this is just awareness, right? People get an idea,
Yeah.
okay, I turned the corner, okay, I kind of feel like I'm that far away again. You want to make people aware of what that 150 looks like. So more visual, a couple visual points around the lake definitely can enhance that.
And that's a nice area that the shoreline is even for an extended period of time. So it might be visually easier for people to see. The second one was, and this is kind of jumping ahead to the next one, but Tom, do you think that you could add arrows going around that perimeter to designate direction?
Oh, that's very smart because of the counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think that would
think
help.
everything that we can do to visualize all of what we're talking about is great. So let me write that down.
I had this came up, I don't know where it came up before. Somebody made a mention of it at one point in time. Should we recommend, I don't think you can enforce, it's not probably a bylaw by any means, but it could be a recommendation that we make that swimmers go against boat traffic or kayakers go against boat traffic so they can, it's kind of like when you're walking, right? You walk on the road where the cars are coming at you so that you can see what's coming at you, so that you can see, hey, if there's a boat coming, should you move left or right, or it doesn't matter. It's just an idea. I don't know from a safety perspective, when I go for a hike and I'm walking up, Locks Pond Road, I'm always watching the cars coming at me because sometimes they don't see me. So I jump the hell out of the way with my dog and make sure I don't get run down. But I didn't know if that's a a safety recommendation we can make. It's by no means a bylaw because people can go anywhere they want. I mean, it's fine. I have no issue with that. But I didn't know, like like when we would send our kids, my nieces, my nephews, we would encourage them to go opposite to the boat traffic, just because be aware. You can't see what's coming from behind you. You sure as hell can see what's coming at you. So anyway, just my 2 cents of whatever that's worth. But Tom, you had your hand up.
Thanks. Yeah, immediately answering what you just said, I think that's probably an education initiative more than a regulatory initiative. But yeah, I was taught that way to walk down streets to face traffic, and make eye contact with the driver, and stuff like that. So we could educate swimmers and kayakers to, choose best practices whenever possible.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Still remember from my Boy Scout days, when you're hiking, left side's the right side side's the wrong side.
I don't know if I've heard that. That's a long ago echo. So yeah, in terms of the map thing that I presented and placing something like that by a ramp, a boat ramp or something, I think it would be great. But I think we all have touched on already. Ultimately, we who set it up and others closer to it are going to know it best. And I think it will grow through awareness and word of mouth. Like, oh, on that sign where it shows this part, when you're on the lake, if you notice this one buoy, and people hopefully will start telling each other, that's what this point on the map is there. About the buoys, especially the ones that exist now, at the last meeting, someone talked about what could be on the buoy painted as well, but I don't know that I remember them saying they are 150 feet from the shore. And I've always wondered their distance, but if it maybe were just painted on there like 150 feet, just to reinforce once people start to understand why that's an important number and whatnot. But I could mark our buoys better generally and more often, or add more signs here or there. And I'm just going to throw in now, because it's what I had written to myself before the meeting as a note, and we're kind of touching on it a lot. Some things are already state law that are in our town bylaw. It's not that the town bylaw is any different. So I think maybe during the next meeting, I'll try to put a chart together of like the topic of speed limit or distance from shore or distance from swimmers or directionality, whether they are already covered in a state reg that is the same as ours or not.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that in our town bylaw, there aren't many that are any different from state regs.
Yeah, I don't know if they were just trying to make it more aware so that they made it more prominent. That's why they did it.
That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Oh, and the LWA also has their reg. I thought we could do a 3-part comparison of things.
Yeah.
So I'll just throw that out there. I think that was my biggest thing I just wanted to throw in there is a lot of work is kind of done for us if the state has already very clear regs, and we're then just working on enforcing and educating.
Yeah, I wrote a couple things I think that are probably pertinent as well, and I see the other hand, so I will get to you guys. I think in conjunction with the LWA, since they own those beaches, I think we could easily make a recommendation, actually go out there with a tape and actually make sure that we put the buoys at 150 feet when they put them out in the spring and the fall, in the spring, and then they take them in. But we could actually go out there and actually put it in the ground, drag it out 150 feet and say, okay, this is where the buoy goes. So that we're, like you said, I think maybe it's been loose, so they just pull them out. Yeah, it looks good. We drop them, right? That's probably most likely what's happening, is my guess. And it's probably pretty close in some regards. Just because those beaches have been there forever, so people know them. I think there's another thing I was just thinking about too. If we think about like the signage that we're talking about, that we would have like on our website, we'd use in our education pamphlet if we had one, or out by the boat ramp. That's also something we could get a duplicate sign made and posted inside the Lake Wyola Association building, because again, a lot of the majority of the people who use the lake go to the, a lot of them are a part of the association, and they'd be able to see it, prominently in the building. That it's again a constant reminder of like, these are our rules. These are what Lake Wyola. This is how we're trying to keep our lake safe. So that could be another thing we could do there, as well as even the bylaws would be on that sign. So again, that's another reminder of all these things that we're talking about. So I'll go to Judy. I think I saw your hand up for a while.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say too, it's hard to swim with your head up having to watch
Yeah, I
for
know.
boats coming, and where we are out on the point, the boats come in before they get to us, and it looks like they're heading right for us. So it's really hard to, it would be really great to have some buoys that really mark the distance. And the other thing for a swimmer are the coves. You know, we have a cove on this side and a cove on the other side. So it's always kind of a question about how to navigate that.
Yep. When you say hard to navigate, like just swimming across the cove,
For
or
swimming, yeah, I don't know how to do that really. You know, in front of our place isn't long enough to really get a good swim in. So if we want to go this way, we have to swim. Usually we swim over towards the beaches,
Mhm.
little buoy over there.
Okay.
But we're still swimming out from where across where people will maybe be possibly bringing their boats out. But I guess then they should be going 5 miles an hour, so that
Yeah.
should be okay.
And if you have a buoy, then if you're swimming with a buoy, then you're at least
Yeah.
giving a designation of where you are,
Mhm.
which is seen the one with the person had a duck, little rubber duck. That was pretty cool. If you've seen
Yeah,
that.
that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. I saw that with you. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. One of the triathletes or whatever they are that swim our lake, the people that are
6
much better
a.m.
shape than me. That was great. So, yeah, no, yeah, good points. Good points. Dave, feel free.
See, as far as your comment about the suggesting that the kayaks go the other way, I think that's a nice thought. I don't think it's in this committee's realm, and I don't think it's practical. That's just my opinion on that. Kayaks can do whatever the hell they want, and that's the rules. So the other thing is, as far as getting back to the issue with we've clearly stated that there's state regulations on the 155 miles per hour. Getting back to Judy's point at the very beginning of the discussion, and my point is there comes to enforcement. We all know, and as I sit here, every afternoon in the summer and watch the boats go by, that area where Judy is talking about gets violated on a regular basis. What are we going to do about it? Where's that recommendation going to be? So if we're going to start to talk about the E and enforcement, I don't think we can leave this discussion without deciding what that process is going to look like. And I don't think we need to have the chief of police here to begin that discussion.
When you're trying to think of like enforcement, are you talking about, calling the police when people violate?
Well, that's it, we can make more recommendations like that. Is there going to be a discussion on fines? Is there going to be a 3 strikes you're out rule? I mean, if we were going to have enforcement, we should really talk about enforcement. And we're at the point of the discussion where I think it should come up. And we can recommend stuff as a committee and people don't have to take them, but we should recommend something. If you're not going to put any teeth into the game, then I'm not sure what the point of this committee is.
Mark?
So quickly, Dave, I mean, the point of the committee was to review the bylaws and make suggestions. I think one of our big suggestions is going to have to be to the town. We need better enforcement. And potentially that means, having the chief at the table, talking to the town, how do we give the police the resources to actually enforce? What needs to happen to make that happen?
Yeah.
A couple other things I wanted to touch on. So Matt's idea with the kayaks, going against traffic. And I think Dave's 100% right. it's not the rules. They can go wherever they want. And I think when we educate people, we should have, these are the rules. Here are some safety suggestions, ways to improve your safety, with things like, if you paddle against the motorized traffic, you will have better visibility. If something is coming your way, you'll be in a better position to handle oncoming wakes. Things like, have your lights ready to go before you go out for dark, so that you're not scrambling trying to find them at night once they're already supposed to be on. I mean, things like that. And I'm sure we could come up with a whole bunch of other just ways to improve your safety. You know, having a driver, but also having a spotter on the boat. We use this in sailing a lot. Not just somebody who's watching a skier behind you, but watching ahead and scanning, because the driver needs to be focused on what's in front of them, and another person who's spotting can be watching all over the place, to see, all right, hey, someone's coming up behind us. Driver, you may not know about it because you are looking at what's in front, and person's going to come up and pass us on the back. Things like that are suggestions. And again, you would get a lot of this in a safe boating course. But not everybody's going to take that. So having a suggestions or best practices section on whatever education we put out, I think would be beneficial, because things like, the paddling against traffic, I'm sure plenty of people have never thought of. Yet when you say it, they go, yeah, that makes sense. And maybe I don't care what way I go, so I'm going to choose to go the way that gives me the better visibility. And do things like that, and other things like swimming. So Judy, you're saying you're swimming over to the buoys there's that chance of people coming in and out from their shore. At 5 miles an hour, I'm still worried about a motorboat hitting me if I'm swimming, because at 5 miles an hour, I'm still going to be a manatee.
Yeah.
So like things that I do, I've gone to actually dropping buoys in front of the house at 25 yards and swimming just in front of my house and the neighbor's house. And I'm blocked by a raft. But before that, what we were doing was making sure we had bright swim caps on, so that we stand out, we're more visible, swimming with a group if possible, things to make more visualize, attention to you, things like that. And then again, can go in those safety suggestions, not requirements, not rules, but smart ideas that people may not have thought of themselves and need that little coaxing to go, oh yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. Fair points.
One last thing, sorry, I keep going on.
Go ahead.
You mentioned posting at the, I got a list going. You got to mention posting the map, whatever, at the association hall. Instead of putting it inside, let's put it outside, because one, a lot of people are outside at events, but two, it's another place for the public as they're coming towards the lake to see it. Whether they're coming in to visit people, or just driving by that way to go. We do have people that launch from the state beach, whether they're supposed to or not. It just gives more access to the information. And I
Okay.
think,
Yeah, two comments. One, Dave, appreciate your comments on the enforcement. And I think that, I think when we have the chief here, I think that's I think we should dedicate almost even one of our entire meetings to let us have a conversation with the chief on enforcement like questions and what she feels is possible, not possible, recommendations. That there are fines listed in the current bylaws on the offenses that are there. They do list those. So I think those are things that we could talk about. I think again, it comes down to the enforcement piece of what can they enforce, or how would they enforce it. So I agree with you on that. So just want to make sure I acknowledge that. I like your idea of the sign outside of the Lake Wyola Association building. My other question is who owns that corner, Locks Pond and the drive there? I don't know what the main road is there, where they kind of post a bunch of stuff on the corner when you're coming in from Leverett. But you come down Locks Pond.
The bulletin board thing?
Yeah, that bulletin board thing. I wonder who owns that property. I wonder if a sign there again that people can see. Granted, you're not gonna see it if you're whipping by in a car, but
I believe that's town property because it abuts
I
the
think
road.
so. Yeah, I think it's still part of the road.
I think it's part of the road, Matt.
Yeah, I'm
If
just
we
wondering, like,
put
that
in-
could be another place we could actually, again, I walk by there all the time, like my dog, so if the sign was there, I'd look at it, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's another opportunity of, it's, hey, we want a sign here, here, and here, you know, type of thing, you
let's
know,
just make sure
again.
that, yeah. So I was gonna make sure that
We
the
should post it at the
current sign
public
that's
beach too.
the current sign that's there does a little bit of blocking your view of traffic. So if we put one up, let's make sure that from a safety standpoint, it's not blocking the view of traffic. That drives me nuts every day when I
In
go
the
to work.
spirit of
That
boating
cause a
safety,
bigger
we will
problem?
compromise car safety.
Yeah.
I do think the public beach is a great spot to put one on too, because we do get a lot of people that venture off from the public beach into the waters.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. I mean, we're constantly chasing people down and trying to help educate them on, they go right by Kathy's house. But they do, they just, oh, look at this great big lake, and off they go. And, you know, I don't know, you and I, both Mark and I mean, for safety perspectives, it's like guided people back in. We're like, we don't want someone getting run over. I mean, especially you get those weird glare days when the sun's coming down and, you know, people are expecting people to be coming off the public beach sometimes. Kathy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just back to the corner of Locks Pond and Lakeview. Anna Mancebo and I approached the town about seeing whether we could get some CPA funds to kind of dress that up a little bit. And they pushed back saying that they didn't have anything to do with it, that we should talk to the Lake Wyola Association. So let's have at it.
Yeah, I didn't know
I
that.
don't think we pay taxes on that, Kathy. I just telling you.
Ask forgiveness, not permission.
All right.
I subscribe to that theory.
Yes,
Don't spread that
exactly.
around them.
That's funny. I think this was a really, really helpful conversation. I think we talked a lot. I think we even talked a little bit about number 4, about how the directional arrows on a map, like Tom had drawn, really designate. I really think that the counterclockwise direction for motorboats is really smart, you know, on a lake our size, so that you just don't have chaos out there. And that's definitely not a Massachusetts reg. That's something that it was definitely birthed out of Shutesbury and you know, the people around here. But I do think that is probably one of the biggest safety things that makes sense for everybody. I'd be curious what you guys think about that, but Dave, go ahead.
It's the most least violated of the bylaws, and the people who do violate that bylaws, I would say 99% of the time are off lake people. Every once in a blue moon, you know, you'll see someone after it's late, they're just going back to their cabin, they're going counterclockwise. But the other thing I would say about counterclockwise, the only other thing I would note is that with tubing, sometimes you get boats out there that tend to go around in circles. Technically, that is a violation of that bylaw. So generally, once again, that happens when there's no one on the lake and the boat's got the place to themselves. But I do see it happen during heavy traffic periods like Memorial Day weekend and 4th of July. But for the most part, I could say from my observation, that's not a very heavily violated bylaw.
I would have to. I tend to agree with that. I'd like to hear what everyone else has to say. Tom, go ahead.
Oh, Mark was.
Over to you next.
well-
I didn't know what the order was. Apologize.
I'll be
ahead, Tom.
brief, Mark, if it's okay. What was I gonna say? Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know where the counterclockwise came from, but there are many other counterclockwise regulations in towns in Massachusetts, and that was another point I meant to mention before the meeting, or that I wrote to myself before the meeting. Besides that, our town bylaw is often just an echo of state regulations. Sometimes it's also it has an analog in another town's bylaws, so I think it might be helpful. I'll try also to make a list of other towns in Massachusetts that have great ponds and have voting bylaws for their great ponds. But when I started doing that, I found a lot of them with counterclockwise. So
Okay.
yeah, it was
I didn't know
to find that is right, like Southwick, Phillipston, Holland, A lot of other towns have it in there, so.
Good. Mark?
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the ones getting broken, this is the one that I talk to the most people about. Because we get a lot of people come straight from the boat ramp, right past our house in the wrong direction. This is the number one thing that I'm actually stopping and talking to people about. And it's actually the only one that people tend not to give me any gruff about. That's they, oh, I didn't know, and then they're fine. But yeah, this is one that there's got to be some better way for people to see as they're putting their boat in that there is a direction. Because yeah, this is the one that I'm seeing all the time. People just come on and take off not knowing.
To a degree, Mark, it's non-residents that violate
Oh,
this.
yeah, 100%. These are
Oh,
people who are
absolutely.
putting in, they don't know the lake, they don't know the rules. Yeah, I don't think anybody who lives on the lake is regularly breaking this one. It's
No.
the people who need to be educated coming in. That's the big thing. And just so I mentioned personal experience here, being on bodies of water that don't have a designated, traffic direction, it is a lot more stressful and it's a lot more dangerous. I mean, you really do have to have your head on a swivel whenever you're out there driving, and you have to assume that the other person is A, paying attention, and B, going to follow the rules of the road for boating. I mean, there are specific things you're supposed to do in various scenarios when two boats are headed in the same direction or going to intersect. And I think having well, I don't know, that's another area of information I'm sure lots of people don't necessarily know the what you're supposed to do in various situations. And so that might be beneficial for us to share with people. It also may confuse the matter if we do all of them versus putting
Right. I think
like an overtaking boat. That's one that's important because you are going to be passed by people on a lake when you are all going around a track NASCAR style. So having the rules for that, who is the stand-on vessel and who is the overtaking vessel and what are each supposed to do. But yeah, maybe not the one's coming one way, one's coming the other. But it might be worthwhile looking at, the rules of the road, and selecting the ones that are most specific to this traffic pattern on Lake Wyola and making sure people are aware of how to handle it.
Those are all good points. Good. Very nice. All right. I think we got through 3 and 4 for sure. This is good. And again, I think there's still the open item of, love to find out when the chief's going to be available and dedicate a large portion of one of our meetings when I know she's coming to have more conversation about that for sure. So that's good. Good. We are at 7:25. The agenda is there any new business that anybody wanted to discuss? I know, Tom, I added that by your suggestion. If there was something unique people wanted to discuss, just to give a few minutes that way before.
So we're thinking we're going to pick up at number 5.
Yes.
I think we've had a good discussion around item number 4. I mean, is the committee comfortable with that?
I think so.
I am, certainly.
Good. And again, I think number 5 is not going to be, not sure how much discussion we'll have, but
it's only 5 minutes left. So
why don't we have a quick discussion on it? What are some of the thoughts on water skiing?
Again, I don't think it's a very often violated bylaw, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
That's my opinion of it. I'd like to hear what others have to say.
But I
My
think
only
it's a good one.
suggestion
I
would
think
be-
it's a good one to have. Sorry, Mark, let me just chime in.
Yeah.
I think it is a good one to have, especially think about signage and education, because a lot of lakes that I'm aware of, they don't have such a rule. Like if you go to Lake Winnipesaukee, for example, I've been up there, they're water skiing at 5 a.m. I mean, it's barely sunrise. And what you don't want is somebody who's coming in from outside the lake, rolling in at 6 a.m. and starts, just like whipping around our lake would be potentially bad.
The bylaws are posted at the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, at the ramp. They're posted, right?
But I think, I know Mark, you'll chime in here, but our lake rule is that we don't even turn a boat on until 8 a.m.
8 o'clock.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
There's one thing on this bylaw I would like to change is is the wording, and not use water skiing because it's too specific. Now that we've got tubing, wakeboarding, kneeboarding, wake surfing, I feel like we need to find some terminology that's
All
going
water
to.
sports, all water sports must be conducted, can't, or, banned or whatever, No,
We
no,
might
no,
want to
no
go with
water
towing.
sport, no motorboard, water
Yeah.
sports until.
Recreational
sunset.
towing. I like Tom's idea of towing, but
Yeah,
recreational,
that-
like if I'm towing somebody's boat because they broke down, I want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Yeah,
But
because the
also
mass
there's-
regulations refer to towing a lot and equate water skiers as a type of towing at one point. So, and towing is not allowed at night,
Yeah,
Mhm.
et cetera.
That's-
So, yeah.
agreed with all that. So that'll be something that we should, maybe Tom, do you want to give a suggestion on that for the next one? Let's have put some verbiage to number 5, or what a recommendation to that might look like.
Yeah, can I bring that to the next meeting or
Yeah, absolutely.
on the fly? I don't know if I.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if you meant right
I didn't
now.
expect you to
It's like,
wordsmith it on the fly. You're right. But I liked your idea of towing and, again, bringing it to vernacular that's synonymous with some of the state regs. I think is not a bad thing.
yeah. Mark, do you think there's recreational towing and other types of towing? Do you think recreational towing is a better phrase? Or?
I mean, I don't want to have somebody go, well, I didn't rescue him because it says no towing after dark.
Oh, well,
Uh,
I mean, the regs
yeah.
also make clear that emergencies are exceptions.
And
But
it's just, we're posting this and then we're not posting the state regs. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we could make it more clear. I don't know. And then
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, recreational towing may not be the verbiage we want to use. I'm open to
No towing between sunrise to sunset, parentheses, wakeboarding, water skiing. I mean, just
spell it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That may be the way to go.
Exactly.
activities. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
not a big deal. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
easy to kind of call that out. Kathy, I think you had your hand up first.
I'm just wondering, is it the noise that people are concerned about between sunset and sunrise, or, is it just towing, or is it more than that?
I think it's visibility too.
Visibility.
Yeah, it's not safe to do it at when gets too dark. You can't see what's coming at you, and maybe the driver might not be able to see as well. So you could be putting both people on the lake in harm's way as well as the person behind the boat or the boat itself.
Yeah, I understand with sunset, but sunrise in the morning, in the summertime, for those who
Yeah.
sleep in, not that I'm one of them, but
Yeah, and I think that's why that
Oh, I see where you're.
unwritten rule of 8 a.m. to be respectful. That was always
yeah,
a thing that we didn't want, because a lot of the boats have quieted down over the years, but in the past, they were a lot louder. A lot of the boats were much louder. Dave, go ahead.
So I just want to clarify that I'm hearing that we're going to come back with new language on number 5 at the next meeting. And at that point, I would assume that we need a vote and we would need a quorum to approve that vote. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary, Dave. Thank you.
Oh, okay. And so it is now 7:29. So I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
That's great. I like that we're keeping this punctual, quite frankly. I appreciate everybody's time and being respectful of everybody's time in the same breath. So thank you for that. I'm a fan.
We have a second. We'll need a vote.
Yep. So let's do the roll call. Matt Barowick, aye.
Bramall,
Aye.
Salvador, I.
Bramall, aye.
Rivers eye.
Super.
All right.
Been a pleasure, everybody.
This is great. Really
Thanks,
good
guys.
conversation.
Thanks
I
for all
think
the
that
hard
really-
work,
Tom,
Matt
really
and
wanna
Tom.
thank
I
you
really
again for the,
appreciate it.
Yeah, nice work on the map. I think that
That is good.
painted a
Thank you.
picture for everybody. So thank you.
Fabulous. All right.
And
Peace
that
out, gentlemen and ladies.
See
Thanks
ya.
all.
Take care.
Bye,
All right.
Bye.